Someone does something for you, nothing big. They ask if you're okay, they bring you coffee, they explain something slowly, patiently, when they could have rushed. They notice something about you that no one else bothered to see, and something inside you tightens. You say thank you, you smile, you respond normally, but underneath there's this strange pull to deflect, to make a joke, to pay it back immediately before you have to feel it, to escape the moment before it actually reaches you. And then a question surfaces, one that's hard to say out loud. Why does being treated well make me feel worse than being ignored? More people carry this than would ever admit it. We rarely talk about it because it's hard to explain without sounding ungrateful, or broken, or strange. But you're not strange. Your body is reacting, and it has a reason. The first thing you need to understand, kindness asks something of you, something very specific. It asks you to receive. If you're the one who fixes things, who gives, who anticipates, who stays useful and composed, then kindness reverses the equation. Someone else is directing the moment. It doesn't depend on your competence. You don't have to perform anything to deserve it. It just exists. Someone sees you, responds to you, without conditions. For some people that feels like safety. For others, it feels like exposure. Because exposure doesn't always look like what we see in movies. It's not always tears and confessions. Sometimes it's just this. Someone was kind to me, and I didn't know what to do with it. Here's the part almost no one talks about. The discomfort is not about the person being kind to you. It's about everything your mind has learned to associate with being cared for. Think about it. Has there been a time in your life when affection arrived with criticism attached? When help came with debt built in? When someone was warm today and cold tomorrow, and you never knew which version was coming? If so, your brain did its job. It simplified the equation. Kindness equals something comes after this, not out of malice, out of protection. That's why the scan runs automatically before you've consciously thought it through. What do they want from me? What do I owe now? How long will this last? Is this pity or is it real? Your body isn't reacting to the present moment. Your body is reacting to an old pattern. There's an even deeper layer to this. Kindness creates contrast. If you've grown used to functioning in a harder emotional climate, where you had to earn your place, where softness had nowhere to go, where expectation was the default and gentleness was the exception, then real warmth doesn't just feel good, it shows you how tense you normally are. It reveals how long it's been since you stopped bracing. It exposes the gap, and that can hurt. It's like being outside in the cold for a long time, then stepping into a warm room. The first few minutes don't necessarily feel pleasant. It almost burns. Not because the warmth is wrong, but because your body has been numb for so long. The discomfort isn't about the warmth. The discomfort is about what you left of yourself out there in the cold. This is what I'd call grief. Not the dramatic, visible kind, the quiet kind. Grief that your own body can't rest inside something simply good. Grief that you stay alert when you could relax, that you doubt when you could trust, that you withdraw when you could have stayed. A lot of people live with this contradiction in silence. They deeply want kindness, warmth, safe closeness. And when it arrives, they tighten, they make a joke, they change the subject, they repay it immediately, they disappear. This doesn't mean they don't want it. It means wanting kindness and being able to receive it are two entirely different skills. The first is desire, the second is capacity. A lot of people have the first, the second was never taught. There's one more thing that rarely gets said. Some people function better around indifference than warmth, not because they prefer coldness, but because indifference is familiar. It doesn't ask anything. It doesn't reach in. It lets you stay self-contained. Kindness is different. Kindness touches you, and if being touched, emotionally touched, has historically arrived alongside pressure, obligation, or confusion, then even healthy care can trip a quiet alarm. This is why some people find themselves drawn to emotionally complicated dynamics while feeling unsettled by simple, gentle ones. The complicated dynamic is familiar terrain. They know how to survive in it. They know what role to play. Simple kindness gives them no script. It just leaves them there, with themselves. And that might be the most uncomfortable part of all. If you've made it this far and this feels familiar, stay with me for one more moment. You are not cold. You are not damaged. You are not incapable of closeness. Your system simply built a very logical defense structure. It learned to manage, to perform, to keep distance. It learned that control means safety, that self-sufficiency means strength. Kindness doesn't speak that language. Kindness doesn't ask for your performance. It doesn't need you to be useful. It only asks you to stand still for a moment and let something good actually reach you. That can feel foreign. That can feel frightening, not because kindness is dangerous, but because you haven't had enough stable, clean experiences of it to stop reading it as a trap. And that is where change becomes possible. Not tomorrow, not from one realization, but every single time someone is kind to you, and you, instead of escaping, simply do this. Stay in it 1 second longer than you normally would. You don't react immediately. You don't repay it right away. You just notice what happens. Because not every kindness is a setup. Not every gentleness hides a hook. Not every care becomes control. Sometimes someone is just being kind. And sometimes the hardest thing in life isn't finding that. It's learning that when it finally arrives, you don't have to flinch. If this resonated, drop a comment. Which part hit closest to home? Because someone else is carrying the same thing and they don't know they're not alone.